Hey, good evening. This is Quan, and I just wanted to send a shout out around this lunar eclipse coming up in Gemini and on Monday morning. And, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you can see the penumbra, the shadow of the shadow and all of that. But just realize that eclipses, when we look up astronomically, that's the technical scientific. But there was a time that these two philosophical sciences weren't separated. So we use astrology to bring in the meaning. So anytime we look up, I want to apply it down. Yeah, be in the world, but not of the world. But you're still, from a soul perspective, you're still about integrating and finding the meaning. And so you need ego. And that's why, Tavish and I are doing this work with our raw materials, ourrawmaterials.com. But I wanted to just talk about that. You know, full moons are 5 days, so 2 days, the day of, and then December 1st and 2nd. So this one has Neptune written all over it. And Neptune is our mystical side. It's where we don't ask the question, are we psychic? Because in order to ask that question, you have to acknowledge that there's something within our being, in our sense of self, that connects us to everything that lives and breathes. Two, four, eight legs. So it's about, so if you're not willing to ask that question, your arrested development is more likely to be that you don't acknowledge the psychic part of us. So, he who frames the argument wins the argument. So, or at least makes the argument more interesting. But this lunar eclipse, Monday morning on the 30th, has a lot to do with the Gemini Sag axis, which is about reporting from an intellectual perspective, but also being inspired about how spirit brings us into not only knowledge, but hopefully the Sag season will bring us wisdom. So subscribe if you haven't to Quan Tracy Cherry, our raw materials, and let's go forward because we've got a beautiful conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn happening on the winter solstice at the first degrees of Aquarius, and Mercury for this lunar eclipse is at 28 Scorpio, which the Sabian symbol is the King of Fairies, approaches his domain. Actually, I like saying the King of Fairies approaches their domain. And if you want to give me some information, some knowledge, and some wisdom about transgendered and non binary versus, hey, this is who I am, not self selecting out, please do. This is going out. Enjoy your Sunday.